Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we have Greenie back, and he's back with planet G. Sorry, it's planet Y. Greenie, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Sunilji, for calling me again once again. Nice to be always here. It's wonderful being here with you.
Thank you, thanks. So let's come to this exciting series of X, Y, Z, and can you tell us how you discovered planet Y? And why did you discover it?
Okay. So we have talked many times about this, and I'll once again talk about this probably for people who are joining in for the first time. So this idea has always been there as to why we are only having 5 planets. The Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. Explaining 12 zodiac signs. So there are always this question, okay, in Indian astrology, and of course Western astrologers were using Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, so that was giving even bigger dimension. But many people, many astrologers, like for example Linda Goodman had talked always about there is one planet which rules Taurus and one planet which rules Virgo. She said Vulcan and Pan Horus being the rulers. And then of course I saw that we have answers to all of this in our own scriptures. So Dr. Dennis Harness talks about, even in Rig Veda, there is a mention about the outer planets. Even he was talking about how even Parashar was talking about, even Vyasa was talking about the outer planets. He also has gone to Chennai, and in some of the palm leaves, he's found that there are mention about Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. So Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto is there, and that it also talks about more about the other bodies. He's talking about Varuna, Yama, and Prajapati, which are the Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, but then also about other bodies, Isan, Kuber, Indra, Prajapati, and all that. So there are bodies which are even beyond Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, or maybe other than Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, which are already been mentioned in our scriptures.
So sorry to interrupt you. Did you mention, just to clarify, did you mention Dennis Harness went and saw the manuscripts in Chennai, or did you mention that?
He didn't. Narendra.
Narendra Desai. I have mentioned
information. Yeah, he has given him the information that Narendra Desai has seen this So that is what. So someone like Narendra Desai has actually talked about Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto.
It is in Vashishta Nadi.
Yeah, Vashishta Nadi. So all of these things have already been already there. So I just thought that okay, let me do probably a more focused research on, are there really bodies which these people are talking about. So I always thought that probably the planets may not be beyond Pluto, because Pluto if it is beyond Pluto, then the planet will have an orbit of 500 years, 1000 years, and are they really going to impact us in a big way? Maybe not. So maybe I thought that they must be lesser than that. So I started a systematic research, and so when I looked into those charts of people whose horoscopes I couldn't explain, for example, I was talking about I couldn't explain the chart of Amitabh Bachchan, one simple example, biggest example, and also another one is Mahatma Gandhi's chart. So I couldn't explain as to why Mahatma Gandhi went through so much of challenges, troubles, and then he died, or why Amitabh Bachchan is Amitabh Bachchan, why he had this kind of a transformation. So I assumed that there are certain planets here. So I assumed that there is one planet here, that is what makes him Amitabh Bachchan, or there is one planet here, which is why the reason Mahatma Gandhi suffered. So then on that assumption, I went back and saw that there were so many other people also born in that time whose charts were also not being explained, certain aspects of their lives. So then I found that, okay, fine. So I assumed that from this particular year to this particular year, okay, there is one planet. Okay, so if I'm going to, let's talk about planet Y. I saw, one thing that triggered me was an early widow. This lady became a widow at the age of 19. Okay, so when I looked into the chart of her husband, it very clearly showed all the planets were in the wrong houses, 8th house, so many planets, and 6th house, so many planets, and all that. So it was very clear. But when I looked into the chart of this lady who was born in 78, 79, Jupiter was exalted, okay, and it was in the very right house, but then she lost her husband, and there was nothing in the chart which could explain that, how she lost like this. So then I found that, okay, she's a Libra ascendant. So if she's a Libra ascendant, then probably the Virgo falls into her 12th house. So that either the planet is in Virgo, or the planet which rules Virgo is in exaltation or something, So which makes her 12th lord being exalted. So maybe that is the reason she lost her husband. Something like that. Then I found that people born between 76 to 81, I was finding that there is something which is not being explained. You can't explain certain things. So then I found that, okay, maybe there is something in Gemini. So then the assumption was that, okay, the planet which rules Virgo is exalted in Gemini. Okay, so with this assumption, what I started doing was I went to NASA's website. I was looking for all those planets which were, transiting in between 1976 to 81. It was transiting Gemini. Okay, so it was having about 5 years of orbit. Then I went back and saw 60 years before that. So which means if it is orbiting for 5 years in one zodiac sign, it means into 12 or 60 years. So then I went back another 60 years before. Then I found that there were so many horoscopes of people where that when the planet is in Gemini, it was making sense. So then this is how I zeroed in on that body. So I call this NASA's code is 1999 JV127. So I found this body. Then I used that body. I calibrated the zodiac signs where it was, in Libra, Aries, and all that. Then when I started applying it, then I found fantastic results. So this is how I started doing every body. I mean, planet X also like that, planet Y also like that, and then planet Z. So besides Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, when I use all of these planets, so now what in the system that I have, I do. There are 12 planets for 12 zodiac signs. So a Venus will rule only Libra. So the Taurus is ruled by planet X. Gemini will rule only, Mercury will only rule Gemini, and Virgo will be ruled by another planet, which is planet Y, and so on. So one planet per zodiac sign, and now it actually makes perfect sense to me. So this is the methodology which I follow, and it's like absolutely making sense to me, because every time I'm using this planet, it works like magic.
Wow. Just out of curiosity, the lady Libra ascendant, her Saturn was in 11th house?
Saturn was in 11th house.
I'm just asking.
Saturn was in 11th house.
78, 79.
79, yeah. So Saturn must be...
It should be in Leo.
It must be in Leo, yeah, correct. So it was in the 11th house, correct.
Okay, so at the age of 19, it will come in the 5th house by another system, and it will aspect the 7th house.
Okay. But there should be something in the basic chart which should explain that she will become a widow early.
That though is the whole horoscope.
Yeah. So the transit wise, you're able to sort of correlate with certain transits and certain aspects. But the basic chart should show that. I mean, in Amitabh Bachchan's chart, it should show why he has undergone that huge transformation. Okay, if it is not in indicating that, then there is something wrong. Even if you look at the Abraham Lincoln's chart, okay, like there is nothing which indicates why he was killed, assassinated. You can look at a JFK's chart and you can see that, okay, there is a very clear reason why he was assassinated, but not a Abraham Lincoln. So all of these things, all of those, the places where I couldn't tie the knots, where I couldn't find explanation, that is when I assumed that there is a particular planet. And then I did a back calculation, and then finally, now it is all in place. So this took me about, almost 15 years I've been doing this. So now I have a proper system in place. Yeah.
Well, we are all excited to know where our planet Y is. And let's start, Loboji.
Okay. Yeah.
I'll share the screen.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Okay. So that is planet Y. So basically, the simple thought process comes from the Gemini versus the Virgo. If you look at it, Mercury is a planet which is assigned for both the zodiac signs. But how can you really assign Mercury for both the zodiac signs? See, Mercury, Geminians, if you see Geminians and Virgo, they are very, very different. Geminians are people who are extraordinary in communication. They talk very well. They're ideas people. They can just sell any idea to anybody. They run around, they move around, they are fast and stuff. So that is a typical Gemini for you. And if you look at the Virgo is so process oriented, so methodical, so number oriented. They don't communicate at all. So one major difference between a Virgo and a Gemini is communication. While Mercury is all about communication. Mercury is a planet which allows you to communicate, but then the communication skills are not there in a Virgo. Virgos will normally mumble, but they are so good in numbers, data, analysis, getting into the details and stuff. So this is the basic difference between these two zodiac signs, and this is the basic difference between the Mercury and the Vulcan. The Vulcan, which Linda Goodman calls it, or maybe Planet Y. Just for the sake of simplicity, I call it as Planet Y. So that is a basic difference. So if you look at Vulcan or the Planet Y, it is the. If I'm going to give a international connection, it is called as the god of fire and metalworking and forge in the Western astrology. And you can call it as Vishwakarma, in the Indian astrology. Because Vishwakarma is the god of all instruments. Everything which is fine, you're getting into using instruments is a method by which you can get into the details, you can get into micros, you can get into analysis, synthesis, manufacturing. So for all of those things, you need the metal or the instruments, and that is what Vishwakarma is all about, and that is what a typical Planet Y person excels in. So maybe you can associate Vishwakarma with Planet Y. And yes, this is the true ruler of the zodiac sign Virgo. Okay. And so the planet finally, if I sort of found, was this body which is mentioned by NASA as 1999. That is the year when it was discovered, and it is JV 127. So I always assume that there is a planet. In fact, somewhere in the 1990s, late 90s only, I started thinking about this planet being here. And so this was discovered in intent, very interesting. And so this planet is the one which, so everything which is granular, everything which is numbers, detailing, getting into the nitty-gritties, all of that is ruled by this planet Y. So you see, in the olden times, you have a goldsmith or you have a blacksmith, who do those finer jobs, who do those, that kind of a work. But now we don't have. Now it is all about getting granular into so many other fields. We're talking about something like a big data. Okay, people getting into all those SAP and whatnot. So it's all getting very, very number-oriented life these days, data-oriented life these days, and all of that is controlled by this planet Y. So planet Y is the one which is about data, number, detailing, synthesis. So even if you're going to look into, people who have a very, very powerfully placed planet Y, they can get into manufacturing also, because manufacturing also requires a proper systems in place, processes in place, putting down everything in details, hardcore number systems. So anything which requires a system, anything which requires administration, proper work, everything which is well defined, all engineering works, all of this comes under the planet Y.
Okay. Sounds good.
I'm not able to see the screen.
Yeah. Okay. Something that's methodical and structured work.
Yeah. So it's like, so even industries, for example, like when I'm talking about industries, it means any kind of an industry which is well planned, well structured, and doing day in and day out the same thing. So any industry which is continuously changing is ruled by Uranus. But the distinction between Uranus and planet Y is anything which is like systematic, process oriented, and keeps on doing the same thing again and again in a well defined manner. Okay, so that is the planet Y. So all of those things which are analytical, anything connected with analysis, anything which requires processes, putting a system in place. Okay, now here is where I differ. Okay, with the Western astrologers, and that is Western astrologers talk about how Chiron is a planet connected to healing.
Yeah.
Okay. But I feel that it is planet Y which is connected to healing. We're going to do a series. We'll do one on Chiron later. So I have my own take on Chiron, which I'm going to talk about a little later in another video. But I feel that healing is connected with planet Y, because medicine is connected to the 6th house. Doctors is connected to the sixth house. Healing is connected to sixth house. Any kind of a person who's connected with pharmaceuticals and anything to do with healing is all connected to the sixth house. And planet-wise, the natural ruler of the sixth house. So it can be the only planet which rules, healing. So yeah. And it takes 68 years for one full revolution. So approximately about 5 years and a few months in.
Five. Is it always 5 years, or does it keep on changing?
It has a huge change. I mean, it's a huge. It has a very elliptical path. I mean, extraordinarily elliptical, and because of which it stays in some zodiac signs for a very long time, and some zodiac signs for a very less time. Okay. So, for example, it can stay in Virgo for almost 15 years.
Oh.
Yeah, and it can stay in Gemini for just about 5 years, and in Taurus for about 4 years, and so on. So it has a very, very, very steep path. So because of which it varies. It varies from zodiac sign to zodiac sign. It's a very extremely different.
Okay.
So these are those centaurs, which are between Uranus and Saturn, and they have an extraordinarily erratic path. So because of which they go into different zodiac. We're going to look into that in the future. In the next upcoming slides, we'll be seeing all of those the years where they are placed, and we're going to talk about that also. Yeah. So a little bit of more details about planet Y. The own house, of course, is Virgo, and as I said, all the planets which are beyond Saturn, because they take a lot of time to make one revolution, they get exalted in more than one zodiac sign. Okay, so in case of planet Y, it gets exalted in Gemini and Aries. So these are the two zodiac signs where it gets exalted. And of course, on the opposite zodiac sign, so opposite of own house is fall house, which is the Pisces. So there it can create challenges, and similarly, it is in debilitation in Sagittarius and Libra. So it would give challenging results in Sagittarius and Libra. Exaltation, of course, is in Gemini and Aries. So.
Okay.
Yes. So now we're going to talk. I mean, we're talking about. I'm giving See, what I've done is I've specifically taken charts of those people where you can make that one connection. About that Virgo connection or the planet Y connection. And planet Y is an exaltation in the first house for MS Dhoni. Okay. Now this is one. I mean, if you look into the websites around. People talk about MS Dhoni having a Virgo ascendant, which is wrong actually, because this data cannot be wrong, because I have got this data directly from the mother of MS Dhoni. I went all the way to Ranchi and I got this from his mother herself.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay. So he's born at 5:30 in the morning in Ranchi, and then he has this Gemini ascendant, and he has planet Y in exaltation in the first house. Now, if you look into his life. In fact, he always says that every post-match conference or everything, he always talks about, he has many times explained about how his mind is always sticking with numbers. So he says that, my mind is always calculating. Okay, why does he remain so cool? He says that, see, there is still 3 more overs to come. So if that is 36 runs, I know that, I'm going to, if I hit another, 1-6 here and a 1-4 here, then I'll be able to hit that numbers. So he always talks from the number perspective. He's always a numbers guy. He always says that, his mind is always thinking. The Champions Trophy that we won in England, if you see the post-match analysis, he says very clearly about each and every aspect of how his mind is continuously ticking with numbers and data. So he's that guy. He's the one who's a personification of that. And also, if you see, the planet Y is his 4th lord exalted in the first house. See, the 4th house indicates home, success at home. I mean, home. And the first house is the indicator of being a person, a personality, who you are as a person, what do you stand, what is your standing in the society and stuff. So he's a guy who's a leader, leading from the front. Okay, because the planet Y exalted in the first house makes him a leader. And of course, a number-oriented reader, and someone who remains calm because he knows his numbers. And his 4th lord being exalted also ensures that, he has been a huge success in his country. So whenever he has traveled abroad, I mean, he has faced a lot of challenges. Okay, I mean, we have lost 5-0 in England and stuff like that. But in India, he was unbeatable. And of course, in the biggest crowning glory in MS Dhoni's life is about winning the World Cup, and that to happen in India. So that I believe is the planet which is. See, there are two World Cups he has won. So the 2020 World Cup, which is a new format. It's a new format. It's a path-breaking format. It is a different format that came in. And he won that World Cup. He won that because his Uranus is exalted. He has two planets in exaltation. One is Uranus, and the other one is planet Y. So Uranus exalted has given him this new format's victory. Winning a World Cup in the new format. And then planet Y is exalted. Which makes him win at home. And winning a World Cup. So, I mean, this is what I feel is the justification for MS Dhoni's chart. MS Dhoni's chart cannot be explained by any other planet except for Uranus and planet Y.
Let me quickly go through the table on the right side.
Yeah.
Okay. You have given the month and the year.
Yeah.
And then you're given on the right column.
Yeah. So
during the transit of planet Y. So let's assume MS Dhoni born July 1981.
Correct.
So he comes under Gemini.
Correct.
Planet Y comes under Gemini.
Correct.
So here the dates like last time what you have given.
Yes.
These are the ending periods.
Correct. Yes.
So basically, planet Y from May 1974 will be in Gemini.
Yeah.
Till December 1982.
Absolutely, that's very true. So
then from January 1983, it shifts to Cancer.
Correct. That's
till July 85, it is in Cancer just for a period of 2 years approximately, 2.5.
Absolutely. Very true. Then it stays for almost for 9 years from 85 to 94 in Leo, and then almost for
22 years in Virgo.
22 years in Virgo. That's a very long period. Yeah, that's very true. So so all of MS Dhoni's successes have actually come during the Virgo's time, and now just when it entered into Libra after November 2016, that is exactly when he had to quit from his captaincy. Okay, and in Libra, what happens is it becomes debilitated. So the planet becomes debilitated in Libra, and that is exactly when he had to. I think in March 2017 is when he handed over the limited overs captaincy to Virat Kohli. So why moving out, has made him lose the captaincy. In fact, I would say that MS Dhoni's best is already over. I don't know. If you're going to talk about future, I would say that MS Dhoni being in the team for the 2019 World Cup is not really going to be good for us, because he's going to be going through a planet Y being in Libra, which is in his debilitated sign, and the planet which made him is actually now at its weakest point. So he's going to be a liability for Indian team, not going to be an asset. So we need to probably look at more options. I mean, we have other options like someone who just came and blasted a last ball 6. So you have Dinesh Karthik, and we have so many other options. So we need to probably focus on that. And they are younger too. So I'm sure the Ravi Shastris in the team are looking into that.
You want me to go to the next one?
Yeah. Yes, so now we are looking at Vishwanathan Anand. Okay, now Vishwanathan Anand's chart cannot be explained, okay, if we don't look at the planet Y. The planet Y, okay, now he has the 8th Lord. The 8th Lord, planet Y, is in exaltation in the 3rd house. So the 8th house is about sports. The 3rd house is about the mind. Okay, and Vishwanathan Anand's work is nothing about thinking, okay, strategizing, numbers. And if you look at it, see how beautifully the planet Y has manifested here in the form of, it is all granular. I mean, like you're looking at, how many pieces are there? 64 pieces are there in that square, squares are there, but millions of combinations. So that numbers, the data, the multiplication factor, and all of that is going on in his mind. It is continuously ticking in his mind. So that beauty of that numbers, data, getting into granular, getting into scenarios, thinking about what will happen next, all of that can be beautifully explained here with the position of planet Y exalted in the third house and being the eighth house indicates sports, third house indicates the mind, and he's a guy who's doing a job of a sports using the mind. How else can you explain Vishyanand?
Correct.
Yeah. So that is Vishwanathan Anand's chart. Okay. And he also, if you look at it, till 2006, he started winning all World Cups and all that. He became a world champion in the 90s, the late 90s and the 2000s and all that. And once Planet Y moved out of Virgo, he's actually struggling now. We can see that now he has lost his world championship. There is a new younger boy who's actually doing well, and probably slowly he will just fade away. Because he has achieved everything that is supposed to be achieved, and Planet Y moving out of in its own house and moving into specifically into debilitation. Is actually bringing him a lot of trouble now.
Yeah. And for him, the debilitation will be in his 9th house of Bhagya.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so the luck is not favoring him now, right now. Yeah, so now here we have a gentleman, okay, who is first of all, before he's a film star, that is a secondary thing. But probably the most important thing that defines Saif Ali Khan is he is the son of two legendary people. One who is a great cricketer and another famous film star. And not just that, we're also looking at his father being a Nawab.
Yeah, royal blood.
Royal blood. So he's not just a normal actor, but he's also a royal blood, a blue-blooded person. Okay, and that of course comes from the 4th house. So his 4th lord, Planet Y, is exalted in the 11th house, Labasthan. Okay, so it is the 4th lord, which rules your home, your land, your properties, your upbringing, where you come from, all of that. And that planet being exalted in the 11th house is the house of profits. Okay, so which means he's there. He's born with the riches. He's born with the money. He's a born Nawab. So that comes from here. So there are planets other planets which indicates him being an actor, but him being a blue-blooded, belonging to royal family and belonging to such a two different lineage of personalities, that comes from his 4th lord being exalted in the 11th house.
Okay. I just curious how authentic is his birth time?
Yeah, this is very, very authentic. Very authentic. Yeah, this was verified through one of his very, very close people. So it's a very authentic data. In fact, this is something which has been there since quite some time. It's not just me who's using it. Many people have been using it. Many astrologers have been using it. He's a Gemini ascendant for sure. In fact, this is also there in Kundali Sangra by Tendulkar. By Gajanan Tendulkar, yeah, even he has it in his one of those compilation. It is there, yeah.
Because I always wanted to check his horoscope for one point, the after marriage scenario, which confirms from this chart that I see at one point of Venus and Moon. So thank you. I could see this chart.
Okay. Now, Ashton Kutcher, okay, is like, there are two things about Ashton. See, again, if you look at the names here, they may not be extremely popular or something, but the point is I'm bringing out all of those charts which very clearly indicate the presence of Planet Y. Okay, that's the reason I'm trying to bring those charts which are different, but yes, you can clearly indicate that the planet is here. If you look at Ashton, there are two things which is very important about him. One is he's an actor. Okay. The second important thing is he's also an investor. Okay. He's an actor, he's a well-known actor, of course, but he's a great investor. He's invested in more than 60 companies, and he's also been a part of many startups.
Oh.
Yeah. So he's not just known as an actor, but he's also a very big investor. He's into angel investing. He has a company which actually accumulates funds and invests into startups. So he's a huge businessman, developing into a huge businessman these days. So if you look into his chart, he has the 5th lord exalted into the 2nd house.
Hmm.
Planet Y is his fifth lord, exalted in the second house. So, being the fifth lord exalted makes him an actor. So, fifth house is all about films, glamour, acting, showbiz, media, and all that. And then, of course, the planet is exalted in the second house. So, second house, of course, indicates businesses. Being it's all about money, and he's not actually started any company. What he's doing is he's only investing. So he's only investing money into these ventures. So there is a very smart thing to do. He's doing something like what Warren Buffett does. So he's smart in that. So he has not started any company. So that is exactly as indicated by the planet Y placed in the second house, which makes him an investor.
Okay.
And again, none of the planets can otherwise explain why he's an actor. The traditional planets cannot explain as to why he's an actor or why he's an investor. It cannot be explained by that. Unless you're trying to say something about the new moon. The new moon is there in the 9th house. Okay, Pakistan, he has a new moon. But that could have made him a teacher or a coach or a guru or something else. Why? Or maybe an internationally successful person. But why he's a film star or why is he a investor can be only explained by the planet Y.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so now this is one very interesting chart, okay, and the authenticity of the chart. This chart is shared by Dr. K. N. Rao. Dr. K. N. Rao has got this birth data from the hospital where Rahul Gandhi was born, okay, and Sunil, you're there with me, right?
I'm here. Please continue.
Okay. So Dr. Rao has got this directly from the hospital where Rahul Gandhi was born. And if you see, the planet Y is exalted in the 7th house. Now, what makes him a politician is his planet Y exalted in the 7th house. Now, what explains the birth of Rahul Gandhi is that one important thing is that he's born on a full moon day. And I have also said this sometime before that, most blue blood births happen either during a full moon day or a new moon day. So he's born on a full moon day, which makes him, a lineage, of Jawaharlal Nehru, okay, or Indira Gandhi. So, but why is he into politics is explained by the position of planet Y in the 7th house. Okay, now, the reason probably why this is my take. I'm purely from the perspective of what I'm seeing in the chart.
Mhm.
If we look at Narendra Modi, just doing a comparison because both of them are political enemies. Okay, so if we do a comparison, Narendra Modi has got 8th Lord Planet X in exaltation in the 7th house.
Mhm.
Okay, which made him a political leader, politician, and also someone who changed other people's money. So he the way we work with money. Now, what we are looking here in Rahul Gandhi's chart is his 12th Lord. His 12th Lord is exalted in the 7th house. Okay. Now, that can mean many things. I have seen charts of politicians who were born in one country and then make a huge success in a different country and all that. But I don't know. Rahul Gandhi definitely is not going to be a politician in any other country. He's going to be in India. So, now what does it mean? So that can mean many things. Actually, the 12th house also indicates losses.
Okay.
12th house being house being losses, that indicates losses, and that planet being exalted in the 7th house. So probably he can be responsible for huge, or he may be the one who is spearheading at a time. Congress party is spearheading at a time when the Congress is seeing large, colossal losses. So maybe that is indicated by this. Okay. Now, also looking at the fact that till the end of 2019, so till the end of the next general elections, Planet Y is going to be actually debilitated for Rahul Gandhi. Okay, yeah, so that probably throws some light as to despite whatever setbacks has been coming for a Prime Minister Narendra Modi, but it seems that Rahul Gandhi still would find it very difficult to challenge Narendra Modi.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
So it is a 12th Lord exalted in the 9th. Okay, now this is something, that is about Rahul Gandhi. Yeah, this is a very, very interesting chart. Okay, now, why, like why you are able to explain, I mean, like why the existence of planet Y can be explained very beautifully by this planet, by this gentleman's chart. Okay. Now, I mean, these are some common, when I always get on the YouTube comments, people write about why don't you explain also with the help of, common man's chart. Now, this gentleman is a common man. I mean, not known to all of us, but of course, he's very well known amongst a circle. So, Dr. Rajalingam is basically a chemistry professor in the United States. Okay. Yeah, he's an Indian. He did all his, masters and everything in India, but then he went to US and then he did his PhD there. And he's a chemistry professor. He was a dean and all that in an American university. Now, if you see, his Y is an exaltation in the 8th house. Now, 8th house is all about discovery, finding new things, research, and all that. Now, what is he researching into? Now, that is a question. Dr. Rajalingam has researched into molecular chemistry.
Okay.
So he gets into molecules. He has written about nanoparticles. He has got some patent and all that. He's got some patent on nanoparticles and something. And he has published some 30 papers on molecular chemistry. So this molecular, molecular is the word which is granular. You're getting into you're getting into that, that atoms.
Yeah.
So that is indicated by planet Y.
And also, that's the hard work also, and data which you said about planet Y.
Correct.
At the same time, I just realized 8th house is the house of darkness, something that you cannot see. And what he's doing, the molecular thing, is normally that you're not able to see with the naked eye.
True. Very true. Absolutely.
This explains quite a lot.
So using the planet Y, you are able to see it. You are getting into that microscope and you're able to see it. So that is indicated by this chart. Yeah. And another gentleman, probably not many would know, but in Mumbai, he's a very popular person, especially in the equity circle. Okay, so this gentleman, Avadut Sathe, he is a research analyst. Okay. He's a equity research analyst. So his work is all about numbers and data and analysis. And so he gets into the smallest nitty-gritties of, one day when the share has moved from here to here, then what are the various reasons why it moves. He uses a lot of complex graphs and stuff and gets into the granular, and one paisa movement here and one thing movement. I mean, he's also a teacher. Okay. So what has happened is his third lord, planet Y, is an exaltation in the 10th house. So his 10th house indicates the kind of a career you're doing. And there he has a planet Y, and planet Y is all about numbers and data and analysis and synthesis and getting into the granular. And so it perfectly explains what this gentleman does.
Right.
So what is he doing in his career? If you look into any other planet, you won't be able to explain what exactly he's doing. And he's also teaching. So the third lord being exalted, it also makes him an excellent teacher. He's also a very good, well-known, very popular actually, teacher of equity research, and he actually helps a lot of people understand this subject in a very complex subject in a very simple way. So he also becomes a teacher because of the third lord being exalted in the 10th. So third house also indicates teaching, talking, and that planet being exalted in the 10th house also. And the 10th house, the Y is the indicator of the data, depth, and analysis. So it exactly indicates what he's doing. So he's teaching research and he's also doing research.
Okay. Can I quickly go to previous chart?
Sorry, I didn't hear. What is that?
Can I quickly go to previous chart?
Yeah.
This one's chart. He's got planet Y in the 11th house, Saif Ali Khan.
Yeah, yes.
All right. Oh.
Yeah, so now Priyanka Chopra, see her, there are two things about her. One is she's a film actor, And the second one is very interesting is her international connections. Okay, now international connection. What I mean by that is first thing she's a Miss World. Miss World 2000. Okay, and again she won it when Y was in Virgo, and of course she's also a singer and also a international singer. She has recorded albums in US. Okay, so she does have a Venus and Mercury there. Okay, but I mean, look at something like winning an international pageant. I mean, it's like a huge thing. It's something extraordinary. Okay, and your 12th lord being exalted in the ninth house. Yeah, so 12th, ninth connection. 12th house is again international. Success in international, arena is indicated by the 12th house. And ninth house is all about travels. So she has been traveling a lot. And of course, her 12th lord being exalted is what has made her the Miss World. So her being in the film industry comes from the Uranus. The Uranus is the 5th lord exalted. So she's not just an actor, but she's also a producer. So the Uranus being the 5th lord exalted, that makes her an actor and a producer, but her Miss World and also going international as a singer, that can be only attributed to the planet Y. Okay, now this is again common men's chart. Very, very interesting. Two gentlemen here. Okay. Now both these gentlemen, I mean, Love and Kush, both of them are twins, born with a difference of just 2 minutes. And it is mind-boggling how the chart has differed, okay, but how planet Y has manifested in both these gentlemen's lives. Okay. Though Love, if you see the first chart, okay, on the left-hand side, he has a lot of planets in 12th house. He has the Sun, Mercury, and Venus in the 12th house, okay. But his exactly similar to Priyanka Chopra, he has gone to a foreign country, but he is he's an international, he's a lawyer. He's an international lawyer. He's placed in US. He's placed in a foreign country. He's also into the legal. He's into the legal department. He's into arbitration, and so all of those things which are very peculiar, connected to getting to the nitty-gritties about legal matters. Now, interesting thing about Kush is that Kush has got planet Y in exaltation in the 8th house. Now, 8th house Y has made him a commando. Okay, he's a commando, and he's one of those commandos who has fought in the 2008 Taj rescue. The Taj hotel which was under siege, and the terrorist attack was there. So he's one of those guys who was involved in that fight, and he has received some bullets and all that, and he's also responsible for killing one of the terrorists. Okay, so so just 2 minutes gap, but the same planet has made one person travel from one country to the other and do something international, and because it is there in the 9th house, 12th lord exalted in the 9th house has made him travel international, and everything connected to the law. Law is also governed by the 9th house. Okay, and we have another gentleman who has planet by exalted in the 8th house. 8th house indicates army, navy, police, fighting against death and all that stuff. It also indicates death. So he has brought death on people. I mean, that is his job. That is his profession. Okay, which is again indicated by the planet Y in the
one question. Yeah. Here the charts indicate one is Libra Lagna, another is
Scorpio
Lagna. So it's a border Lagna for both of them.
No, it is very clearly a different Lagna. I mean,
very clearly. Okay.
Very clearly different Lagna. Yes, very clearly.
Okay. All right.
Okay, so we just come back to the last chart. Okay, and I always want to, this gentleman, I have a extreme love for this gentleman for 3 reasons. Okay, one is because he's a great actor. Okay, who doesn't love him for his acting skills? But of course, he's also the gentleman who gave me Planet X and Planet Y. Okay, so that is one reason why I love him more. Okay, now Planet X in the first house is what makes him Amitabh Bachchan. Okay, the great legendary Amitabh Bachchan. Now, there is always this question asked about how come he made this huge comeback in his life. Okay, Now, the huge comeback in his life can only be explained by the position of planet Y in the 8th house. Because Venus and Mars has given him the accident. Sun Mercury has made him go almost close to death, and he had to come back from there. Neptune, the second lord in fall, has made him go bankrupt. So all of the planets which are there in the 8th house are only indicating the negative things that has happened to him. But coming back from the, like from your career collapse and coming back in a big way again, becoming a superstar once again, and you're reinstating yourself as the legend again, once again, can only be indicated by some positively placed planet. So the planet which is positively placed here is the 8th lord itself placed in the 8th house, which is planet Y. So planet Y now being placed here in the 8th house has made him make a huge comeback. So if you look at it, planet Y was in Virgo from, almost from 94 till 2016. So in this entire period, he went through that huge transformation of, first of all, going through those hits, bad, flops and all that. Then he lost his money, he started a business, lost the money, everything happened. And then he made this huge comeback in 2000 and so on. So that entire cycle happened during planet Y's time. When planet Y was in his 8th house, that is the time when the entire transformation happened. So Amitabh Bachchan's transformation in life, coming back from the dead, coming back in the big way in career, can only be explained by planet Y.
Incidentally, you love him. And I have a love-hate relationship with Amitabh.
So what is that? Okay.
Going off topic, I and my brother-in-law, we both are obsessed with Amitabh Bachchan. Okay. And incidentally, my wife married me for a dialogue, during our courtship days. I think that was the second or third time I was talking to her. I don't remember. So I told her, "Tumhara khoon khoon aur mera khoon pani." The famous Amitabh ka dialogue. And my wife always says, "I married you because of that dialogue." Of course, at that time I was far young, so मैंने बहुत style में वो dialogue बोला था, तुम्हारा खून खून और मेरा खून पानी.
You're still young, man.
So, but yeah, I always feel, Amitabh has taught us not just acting, the way he conducts his life, thorough gentleman.
Yeah.
And he's been through so much. He's been through so much in life. He's lost money, bankrupt. He's seen his best friends go away, and he is still considered the most punctual actor and the most thorough actor you can ever find. True. He's gone through allegations. He's gone through so much, and he's stood his ground. That's been, and he's not been well also health-wise. He's so much, So hats off to this man. Of course, whenever I see Rahu Ketu in the 1-7 axis, okay, provided other planets are a bit funnily placed or afflicted or challenged is the right word.
Okay.
That's when I know this horoscope will have a dramatic life. Always ups and downs. Rahu Ketu in 1-7 axis, it's like tougher, absolutely tougher.
Okay. Okay, and now I'm just focusing on. There were so many planets during those times, but I'm just focusing on those events which I feel can be attributed to the planet Y. So we're looking at the first nuclear weapon, the atom bomb. Was exploded in 1946 when planet Y was in own house. So atom, of course, can be only be explained by planet Y. Partition happened in 47, and partition once again is a like cutting, so dividing. Okay. So that again can be only attributed to a planet Y. Computers is all about numbers, data analysis, and all that microwave oven, and the TV, where all of that. When planet Y was known house, it happened. Man on moon. Putting up a man on moon would have required extreme planning, extreme structures in place. The way they were having those suits. If you see the suits that they were wearing, you're fighting against gravity and stuff like that. So all of that requires planning. And the Green Revolution started exactly when planet Y got exalted in '68. The same month, this word was coined that is called Green Revolution. Okay, and that was the start of
Sorry to interrupt you. Y gets exalted in Gemini, right?
Gemini and Aries.
Okay.
Two zodiac signs. The planets which are beyond Saturn, they have more than one exaltation point.
Okay.
So the Green Revolution, okay, started when this happened. So all of those organic farming and all of those things happened. So the first prototype for internet, internet is all about research, getting into, and the research model of internet was created in 1969. Emergency, okay, which really curbed everyone's freedom. I mean, I don't know how we are going to connect it to why, but then it also happened during that. Very interestingly, the first test tube BV. The test tube is all about, once again, about it's granular. You're doing something molecular stuff. So that also happened in 1978. Okay, and I mean, see, I didn't get much into the later part, the planet Y in these many years, because Pluto was also in own house, planet X was also exalted, so I didn't get into too much into these years. But there are so many events which happened. But maybe one event I can just say is, if you just the Prime Minister, when he became the Prime Minister, the first thing that he did was Swachh Bharat Abhiyan. Okay, and that happened when planet Y was in own house, and Swachhata, the cleanliness is actually ruled by planet Y. The keeping it clean. Okay, so that is ruled by planet Y. So there are so many things we can talk about, but these are some of the things which can be clearly attributed to planet Y.
Where is planet Y in Narendra Modi's horoscope?
Where is planet Y in Narendra Modi's horoscope? Oh, 41 and 50, na? So it is it's in Libra. It's in Libra, it's in first house. It's the 12th lord in first house. Now, very interesting. Okay, this is the now amazing. You bought this thing. Bought this thing up. The 12th lord, planet Y, is there in the first house for Narendra Modi, and the first house is the house of personality. And Narendra Modi is considered to be a divisive figure. So someone who brings in a lot of hatred and a lot of love. Okay, amongst people. So probably I can attribute the position of planet Y being in the first house indicates that.
Well, you're definitely leaving us with a lot to think about as to what planet Y can do in our horoscopes. I would rather look at it also from the transit point of view. I would request the readers to, like how you mentioned in MS Dhoni's horoscope. You mentioned that now it's going to go into that phase in transit where it's not going to yield him results.
Right.
That would be. So, well, ladies and gentlemen, we must definitely thank Greeny Ji for bringing new thought into our minds, and something that most of us don't land up researching. And even after researching, we do not share. So that's something great about GreenStone Lobo, for him to share his findings with us. And especially being a professional astrologer, most professional astrologers don't land up sharing anything. If you look at it in the last 100 years, India must have produced more than 1 million or 10 million professional astrologers. Okay, and in 10 million astrologers would have shared one technique of this, we would have been richer by 10 million techniques. So anyway, we're going to come with planet Z. Am I right, Griniji?
Yes.
Planet Z. Yes. And before we do that, we're going to also be parallelly starting a series of videos with GreenStone Lobo Ji on Mars-Venus conjunctions and similar other conjunctions, Jupiter-Rahu conjunctions, Jupiter-Uranus conjunctions, Uranus-Pluto conjunctions, which many people have, and go in depth in conjunctions, because that is something by which the results of each planet manifest a bit different. And I think it's going to be a very hot series. Thank you so much, Greeny Ji, with folded hands on behalf of our audience.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Sunilji. And yeah, I just want to say that it also requires someone like you. Like I mean, there are so many millions of astrologers. You said they would have come there who are having techniques, but then you also need someone to the sutradhar, to actually bring it. And nobody is actually doing it. I mean, you have opened up a website and you're actually you're throwing up open this thing to anybody, anyone and anybody without any kind of a bias. Okay, this is old, this is new, and then you have brought in everybody on one platform and doing it, which is amazing. See, people ask me, why don't you start your own YouTube channel and start doing it? I said, no, I mean, when Saptarishis is doing such a wonderful job, then I don't need to do it. So it's fantastic. You should continue doing whatever you're doing. Super. Thank you
Thank
so
you
much.
so much. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Bye.